Hey y'all, we're going to talk about cestodes today. They're also called tapeworms. So the Diploidium caninum is the most common tapeworm, also known as the cucumber seed tapeworm. The definitive host is dogs and cats, and the intermediate host is the flea. So whenever a dog or cat has Diploidium caninum, they'll often shed proglottids in their feces. Proglottids are filled with egg packets. The egg packets are filled with hexacanth embryos, and that contains about 20 to 30 hexacanth embryos. And the next cestode I'm going to talk about is the Taeniiformis. It's the feline tapeworm. The definitive host is a cat, and the intermediate host is rodents. They're found in the small intestine. They also have the hexacanth embryos, just like the Diploidium caninum, except there is you can't see the shell around the feline one. And they get it by ingesting a rodent.
So the next ones that we're going to be talking about is going to be Taenia pisiformis. Intermediate host is going to be a rabbit. Taenia hydatogena is going to be intermediate host of ruminants. Taenia ovis is going to be intermediate of sheep. That one's going to also be the muton tapeworms of dogs. The definitive host is dogs for these three, and this is not zoonotic. Treatment is going to be praziquantel. And to prevent it is going to be limiting exposure to the intermediate host and not allowing them to eat the raw meat. The hexacanth embryos do have a striated shell, so that does make them different when you look at the ovas. Next one is going to be Multiceps cerealis and Multiceps multiceps. Difference between those is Multiceps cerealis has an intermediate host of rabbits, and Multiceps multiceps is sheep. Treatment is going to be similar, so praziquantel and prevention is not allowing or preventing hunting as much as possible and not allowing them to eat raw meat. This one is found in the small intestine and asymptomatic most of the time, and definitive host would be dogs.
Next one we're talking about is Hymenolepis species. You can kind of see it right here. It's the rodent tapeworm. There's two. There's the Hymenolepis nana. That is the one that is directly infective, no intermediate host required. And then there's the diminuta, and that one is fleas, flowers, beetles, and arthropods. And that is the intermediate host, and this is the rodent tapeworm. The best way to find it is fecal flotation. It's asymptomatic, so you can't really tell you have it. So the fecal flotation is the best. And then this is the most zoonotic cestode infection in humans. And then the next one we have is the Echinococcus species. This one is also asymptomatic. This is the smallest one. Tapeworm has 3 segments. The treatment for this one requires surgery to remove the cyst. It's extremely zoonotic. Dog and cat, and this is the one that you notify state and federal authorities.
The first one will be Diphyllobothrium latum, in which its definitive hosts are dogs, cats, and humans, and this one has 2 intermediate hosts. The first one is an aquatic crustacean, and then the second one has to be a fish, so your pets can obtain them by eating the fish. And if they eat the aquatic crustacean, nothing's going to happen because it has to go through that second intermediate host to be effective. And so its predilection site would be the small intestine, and it does attach to the small intestine, but it does not get blood meals from it. So it basically feeds off of the B12 vitamin, and so this parasite does absorb as much B12 as it can to the point where it does make the pet anemic, and it is very zoonotic. And then the last one is Spirometrus species. There's a lot of species of them. And so it's also called a zipper tapeworm. Its definitive host is the cat and the dog, and this one also has 2 intermediate hosts. The first one is also the aquatic crustacean, and the second one is a fish and a frog. So this one just add a frog to it. And it's mainly common in Florida and the Gulf Coast region, near the beaches and whatnot. And they're usually not really symptomatic. And it does, on its egg, on the shape of it, on the little end of it, it does have the operculum.